This is episode 35 with Hall of Fame speaker and multiple best-selling author, Willie Jolley. Hello and welcome to the episode of the UV Effect podcast. My name is Gabrielle Jordan and I am your host. If you're new here or returning, welcome and thank you so much for joining me. Today is a special guest for me, personally, because this man has been a role model turned mentor of mine since, since I got started, and a little bit before I wrote my book and while I wrote my book. He's an incredible man, incredible story, and just an interesting life of what he's done with his life and the things that he's done in it. He's a motivational speaker, an inspirational speaker. He's actually been rated one of the number one best motivational speakers and inspirational speakers by Toastmasters. He's also a multiple best-selling author, multitude. He's also worked with Ford Company years ago to help with a crisis when it comes to building the company. And there was, I guess, you're going to learn a little about it in this episode, but it was something to do with having to rebuild the Ford company and traveling around for Ford and speaking to their employees and going to different locations, speak to their employees and things like that, and help to kind of rebuild the company. So yeah, it's pretty crazy, and that's one of the really cool stories he's going to be sharing today in this episode. But all in all, this man, the list goes on and on with his accomplishments, being on multiple television and, radio, and he has his own radio program, Series XM. He's got a lot going on, and he's a very, very successful and accomplished man, and I'm just really excited for you guys to hear more about him. He's also going to be talking about some of the tips and tricks that he's learned along his way. If you are a speaker or a aspiring speaker, or if you're an author or an aspiring author, this is the man to come to for a lot of that tips and those things that need to be, that you need to learn, things you never knew that you need to know. He's also, in this episode, we're just going to be talking about some of the things that business owners face and how to, come back. So one of the things that he often says is your setbacks are a setup for a comeback. And so he's going to be talking about some of the setbacks that a lot of business owners face and how you can come back from it and how you can use that to create a comeback in your life. So again, we're going to be talking about a lot of great things, but really, if you are interested in a great story and also incredible advice when it comes to growing different aspects of life and your skills and talents, then this is a great episode to listen to, and I hope that you will continue to listen on and enjoy this episode of the UV Effect podcast with my guest, Willie Jolley. Let's go. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, it's a joy and a pleasure to be on with you. I'm so proud of you. And I'm so excited for you. I remember when you were just a little teeny weeny thing and this big desire to inspire people and empower people and uplift them. And so I'm so impressed with what you have done and continue to do.
Thank you so much, and I'm really, really excited to have you on my show. Of course, I've looked up to you. You're a role model for ever since, even before I met you, and then as you did the little part in the back of my book. I forgot, what is that called? The little
the blurb, the testimony.
The testimony in the back.
All the above.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm excited to have you here and be able to reconnect here on the show and to learn more about your journey and have my audience learn more about your journey if they don't already know you. So let's jump right in with the first question, and that is, tell us about you, your journey, where you started, and what inspired you to get into this place of motivation and inspiring.
Well, my journey is a simple journey. I was a nightclub singer who sang jingles during the day and sang in nightclubs at night. Sang jingles for companies like Pizza Hut, making it great. We work well together. News 4 and UBET, like entertainment TV. I sang jingles during the day, but I made the majority of my income singing at night in nightclubs. And I see, if I turn it a little bit this way, those are some of the awards I won as a nightclub singer. Nice. best male vocalist, 89, 88, 89, 90, 91, best gospel inspirational vocalist, best gospel vocalist, best entertainer. So I made my living for many years as a singer and performer and entertainer. Had built one of the top nightclub acts in Washington, D.C., and things were going great. I had a new car, had a house, things were great. Well, one night I went in a nightclub. The club owner said, "Want to talk to you after the night show." And I told the guys in the band, they want to talk. We've been selling out for 6 months. We got standing room only audiences. We're about to get our raise. Well, I walked in his office that night and he said, "We love you. You guys are great. But we made a change. We decided that we got to get a better return on investment. And the only way to do that with a full nightclub is to lower the cost. And the band's the biggest cost. So we're going to try something new going around the country. We bought a karaoke machine." And I said, but what about my bills? And I learned that night nobody really cares about your bills, but you and the people you owe. And I went home and told my wife, I said, I've got to do something else with my life. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I had to do something else because I decided it was time for me to determine my destiny and not let others continue to determine my destiny. I took a job with the Washington, D.C. public school system as a drug prevention coordinator. And it was during that year I discovered some of the abilities I didn't know I had, particularly to use words to communicate rather than just music. And from the little kids I was speaking to, the teachers would say, "Hey, that was great. Can you come to my teachers group?" And I go and speak for the teachers group, and someone there would say, "Can you come to speak for my church?" And then when someone at the church would say, "Can you come to speak for my company?" And it continued to grow. And then one day, Les Brown, the great motivational speaker, heard me speak and invited me to be on tour. He had a new tour he was creating called the Music and Motivation Tour. They needed an opening act who did both music and motivation. He said, "You're the guy. I want you to come and be the opening act." And so I became opening act for this tour, which featured Les Brown, Billy Preston, the great organist, and Gladys Knight, the iconic R&B singer or pop singer. And then, because of Les Brown and Gladys Knight, they introduced me to some radio people, and I got a little radio show, and it caught on, got syndicated, and now I'm on Sirius XM, where I now have the #1 self-help show in America. And because of the radio shows, one day a book publisher heard me on the radio. He called my office and said, "I love your ideas. Have you ever thought about writing a book?" I said, "No, I never thought about it." He said, "Let me make you an offer." I said, "I just thought about it. I'm going to write a book."
Saying that you never thought about writing a book and you have that whole wall of your books back there.
Yes, so then my first book came out. It only takes a minute to change your life, followed by a setback set up for a comeback, followed by turn setbacks into greenbacks, followed by chicken soup for the Christian soul, followed by an attitude of excellence. And this is my latest book with my wife, Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last, my marriage book. And so the books came out, hit the bestseller. Yay! Yay! And my books hit the bestsellers list and went around. I started going around the world speaking. And then in 1999, I was interrupted from getting ready to go on stage at a speech in Dallas, Texas by my office, who kept calling saying, "Urgent, we got to call back." I said, "What's so urgent? I'm getting ready to go on stage." They said, "Toastmasters International keeps calling. They say it's urgent." Okay, well, I got to go 5 minutes. Let me, Toastmaster, Willie Jolley. "Oh, we've been waiting your call. Just want to let you know, you've just been named one of the top 5 speakers in the world for this year. Former winners include Colin Powell, Norman Schwarzkopf, Nelson Mandela, Margaret Thatcher, Christopher Reeve." And I was shocked. I said, "You sure you got the right person? My name is Willie Jolley." They said, "The one from Washington, D.C., yeah. The one who wrote the book, A Setback Set Up for a Comeback, yeah. You're the one. But those are big dogs. I'm a little dog." They said, "Little dog keep yapping loud enough and strong enough. Big dogs start to hear about you." So the moral of the story is I got fired, replaced by a karaoke machine, and that was the start of something that was bigger because I decided that I was not going to let somebody else determine my destiny anymore. And that's what I want to say to all your viewers or your listeners, that you're going to have some setbacks in life. You're going to get fired maybe. You might go through a divorce. You might be hit by what I call the devastating D's of life. Disaster, divorce, disease, downsizing, or the death of a loved one. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it happens to everybody. No one gets out of life without some challenges. Challenging setbacks are equal opportunities. They happen to everybody. But if you know how, you can not only turn your setbacks into comebacks, but turn them into greenbacks, which is the book you have. And that's what I want to talk to your folks about. I want them to be inspired and empowered. And I'm glad, one, that they're listening and viewing you, because you are empowering and inspiring. And I encourage them to make your show and your podcast a part of their routine. Make it something they do ongoing, because you're giving them powerful, positive, potent information that can help them to prosper in this new day. So I want to thank you. And that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
I really appreciate you sharing it. I really do. And it's actually the one point that you made also in the beginning when you were talking about your story and talking about how you lost your job to a karaoke machine, basically replaced by a karaoke machine. I feel like what happened from that point on is a really great example of what this podcast is really all about, the UV effect, understanding and honing in on your unique value so that no matter what field you go into in your life, you're still going to be able to excel and succeed and be able to make an impact however you wish to. And, you lost your job, and were replaced by a karaoke machine, but yet because you understood that you had key elements, you had key things that made you distinguishable, that made you stand out, you were able to hone in on those things and and apply them into your life in the ways that you needed to. You start off with singing, but a lot of the same attributes as a singer, goes into being a speaker. That stage presence, that ability to present, that ability to share a message, those things are important. And you being able to see both those sides is a huge part of being able to understand and be able to cultivate a vision for yourself that can actually come true. And that's why your story really does fall right in line to what UV Effect is all about. Yeah. So the next thing I really wanted to talk about was you as a motivational speaker. And I want to talk about some of the skills that you discuss. You talk about personal development and growing. You often focus on motivation and inspiration and developing companies. And so I actually would have two questions here. Which skills do most people struggle with? What do they struggle with the most when you go out and speak?
Well, when I go out and speak, there's two things I want to show you. One is skills that people struggle with in just life and in business. And then there are skills that people struggle with in what you said about communicating and motivating, or just communicating. Let me start there. The greatest leaders are always good communicators. Whether it's a Abraham Lincoln, whether it's a John F. Kennedy, whether it's a Barack Obama or Bill Clinton. Leaders are always communicators. And if you want to be successful in life, you must make a commitment to be a better communicator, even if it's just with your family. The greatest teachers are great communicators. The greatest preachers, communicators. The greatest mates, husbands, wives, communicate to each other, to their children. So you must work on your communication skill, and that's one of the biggest problems, because most people feel comfortable communicating one-to-one. It's the groups that they get messed up with. They don't like being in front of, because they get scared. In front of a lot of people, they get scared. Their palms get sweaty. Their mouth gets dry. So I recommend people do a few things to help them to grow their communication and ability to communicate. If they will go to youcanspeaknow.com, I've created some lines of information that can help them with their communication. So that's first. Now, in terms of my corporate groups, and before I even get to corporate, let's talk an individual. What are corporations made up of? They're made up of individuals who come together to create a company, or they work for a company. But the greatest companies have great people. In my new book, An Attitude of Excellence, the revised version that's coming out soon, I share with people that great people are what make great companies. Great people give great service. Then good people will give good service. Mediocre people will give mediocre service, and negative people will kill your organization. So you got to grow your people if you want to grow a great company or a great organization. And sometimes the people are only you and maybe your accountant, or you and your lawyer, or you and your administrative assistant or virtual assistant. But everybody is part of your team needs to grow. So you got to grow yourself, grow your future, and grow your people. And what do you do to do that? You start working on two things: your mindset and your skill set, attitude and excellence. Now, attitude is mindset. It's how you see the world, how you see life, how you see the next challenge, how you handle the things that are coming your way. So attitude is critically important, and it's primarily important for success in business as well as in life. Then you work on your skill set, which is how you do what you do. And so attitude is why you do it, and aptitude is how you do it. And when you get that why and the how working together, you'll have greater personal success. If you want to make more money, well, why aren't you making more money? Well, it's something that probably is stopping you from making more money. Probably it's something in one of these sets, skill set or mindset. If you want to have a better marriage, it's mindset and skill set. Wherever it is in life, relationships, money, health, mindset, skill set. So that's what I try and help people do, develop their mindset and skill set. Well, how do you do that? Well, what changed my life? I was a nightclub singer. Broke, busted, disgusted, just got fired. Somebody changed my life by blessing me. When I was fired from that nightclub job, I'm struggling. I don't know how I'm going to make it. I don't know what I'm going to do. A friend of mine gave me something that changed my life. He gave me a motivational tape. This was back when he had cassette tapes.
Right.
A motivational tape. I had never heard of motivational tape. And on this tape was a guy named Charlie Tremendous Jones. Was an old guy who was an old-time motivational speaker, but one of the best. And he said something that was life-changing. He said, in 5 years, you'll be the same person you are today, except for two things: the people you meet who inspire you, and the books you read that empower you. I said, wow. And that changed my thinking. I got to change my inputs if I want greater results. That same friend, after he gave me the cassette motivation tape, gave me a book. Gabrielle, that book changed my life. It was called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And I read that book, and it changed my thinking. And I have read it numerous times. In fact, my friend Joe Dudley, who is the founder and CEO of Dudley Hair Care Products, one of the first big African-American hair care product companies in America, he said he was broke, making $10 a day. And he read Think and Grow Rich. And he became a multimillionaire. And he said he made a point after that to read it every week. He read it. He said, I've read it over 100 times. Wow. And he said the first 100 times got me rich. Then the second 100 times kept me rich. And I read it 100 times more for assurance. I want to give all your viewers and listeners a gift. I was honored to be chosen as one of the 53 people to celebrate Napoleon Hill on the Napoleon Hill Foundation 17 Principles for Achievement. And as a result of being one of the 53 chosen from around the world, I'm now able to give that book, Think and Grow Rich, to my friends. So everybody who's watching you is a friend of yours, is a friend of mine. And so if you will go to williejolly.com/gift, Willie Jolley, WILLIEJOLLEY.com/gift.
And that link will be down below.
Great. You can get that book, my gift to you, as a digital download.
I really appreciate you giving that gift to our audience, guys. Make sure you go and check that out for sure. I've actually checked out that book before. It's a very, very good book, and I recommend that you read it. And thank you so much, Willie Jolley, for having that gift for us. That's wonderful.
Somebody blessed me and I want to bless some other people. So,
Absolutely.
as you give, so shall it be given unto you. And as you give, my friend Nito Cobain, who's a great mentor of mine, he said, you should give without remembering and get without forgetting. And never forget those who blessed you. So I never forget that guy giving me that tape and that book. Changed my life. So I just want to try and do that for others because somebody did it to me. So I'm grateful for those principles that helped to change my life. Okay.
Wonderful. And I want to talk to you about your dedication to your craft and how you're able to distinguish yourself. I mean, how long have you been speaking for, actually?
26 years now.
26 years. Congratulations. That's wonderful.
I can keep the lights on and the phones on and the music on. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord.
Absolutely. And so I'm wondering, so for you being, dedicating yourself to this craft for so long, how do you keep yourself distinguished? How do you keep yourself fresh? And even for yourself, like how do you keep yourself fresh, but also to make sure that you keep yourself relevant for those that you're speaking to and for, growing your brand, I guess you could say.
One of the things I've wanted to do and I've done and tried to do is constantly reinvent me. Okay. And that's one of the things I recommend people constantly do is try and grow you by reinventing you often. Okay. Somebody said, well, what's your brand? And that you stay the same. No, I think you keep changing. You keep growing. You keep expanding your brand. So I started as a singer who expanded to a speaker for young people. I only spoke for young people the first 5 years of my speaking business. I did a PBS special. Let's see, where is it? Let's see, it's around here somewhere. I did a PBS special for young people. My PBS special is called, there it is up there. America's #1 selling youth video. I did a PBS special for young people called Dare to Dream, Dare to Win, like in my 5th or 6th year of speaking. That was like, I'd spoken to almost 1 million kids in 5 or 6 years. I was doing 4 and 5 school presentations a day. Now, that was when I was young. I could do it. I had a lot of energy. I could do 4 or 5. I do 2 or 3 now. I got to take a nap. Anyway.
Right.
Anyway, I started as a youth speaker and became very popular, got the PBS special. But then I said, well, I want to expand. So I started doing colleges. And I became well known in the college market. And then I said, well, I want to expand. I started doing small trade associations, credit unions, and get very good in that. Then I started doing small corporate groups, like hospitality groups, Marriott hotels, Starwood hotels. Started doing restaurants, speaking to their groups, the financial, to restaurant services. Then I expanded to financial services. I spoke for $1 Million Roundtable. Then I expanded to real estate groups and hospitals and healthcare, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Norton Healthcare. Then I just kept growing, and many people know now the last few years, I've been on the Get Motivated tour with Les Brown, and I replaced Zig Ziglar, and Les Brown replaced General Colin Powell, and we're speaking to major arenas around the country and around other countries. So that all happened because I kept expanding. Now we've expanded into radio with Sirius XM, and I'm on WHUR every day, right before Steve Harvey. We've expanded into television, PBS, 2 PBS specials. I was on Channel 9 in D.C. on CBS TV for a number of years with my daily Live Better with Willie Jolley segments. We're going back to TV this year. So I didn't have books at one point. So some people in the world know me only for my books. They have no idea I speak. They just like my books. Some people have no idea that I have books. They just know me for my radio. Or some people might know me because of my music. And I kept expanding the brand so that there was more wholeness kind of concept. So I think that the secret for everybody is to not stay stale. I was in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Fort Bragg is the big Army base in Fort Fayetteville. I was going to be speaking that week there, and they assigned a driver to me. And the driver picked me up, and he'd take me to this event and that event, this radio show, and we got to talking. And I said, well, tell me about yourself. He said, well, I was in the Army for over 20 years, but then they put me out. I said, they put you out? You didn't retire? No, they put me out. I said, that's odd. Did you do something wrong? No. I wasn't dishonorably discharged. I just was discharged. I said, really? He said, yeah, but here's what I found out, Mr. Jolley. He said, one of my friends I was talking to who was still in the Army, we came at the same time. But he had progressed so far, much further than I had. And he said, when you came in, you were doing this. He said, yeah. And then after 20 years, you were still doing this. He said, you didn't grow. And because you didn't grow, you became expendable. He said, look, there's a quote I want everybody to write down. You must expand or become expendable. You must grow or you become a obsolete object. You know, everybody who's watching this probably is watching it on some form of technology or listening to it on some form of technology. Well, I remember when I bought the computer I'm looking at, going through this with you. The last computer at least. The last computer I bought, they said it was top of the line. Woo, it was hot. Mm-hmm. Well, a year later, it was obsolete. I had to get a new computer. That's what I've got now. Because of technology, things are changing more rapidly than ever before. You know, I see you, Gabrielle, are just, you've never been in a time in your life where you didn't have a phone. You know?
Very brief moment in time.
Yeah, you have never known a time when there wasn't some sort of computer or technology. But I remember when there was no such thing as computer. I remember when there wasn't even a fax machine. I definitely remember when there wasn't a cell phone. When I had my first cell phone, came in a bag that I plugged it in my car. You know, so I think to say to you that we got technology that's rapidly changing. So we got Facebook. Y'all don't even use Facebook anymore. You don't even use Facebook, do you?
I use it. Not many. Not much.
Tell me what you use. Snapchat and Twitter.
Yeah. Instagram.
Instagram. You know, it's old folks who use Facebook, you know. But I say all that to say technology is changing. So folks, wherever you are, I want everybody who's watching to expand or become expendable. I want you to grow your thinking. How do you do that? Big point. Gabrielle is a great example of someone who said, you read a lot of books. You already knew Think and Grow Rich. Mm-hmm. You knew about my books. You've made a habit, a part of your lifestyle to read and to listen and to involve yourself with positive stuff. But many of the listeners might not have read a self-help book. They might have been like me. If somebody hadn't given me that book, I wouldn't have never known about motivation, about self-help, about motivational books and tapes. So I want to tell everybody, these are my books. Go to williejolly.com/gift to get the free book, and then go to williejolly.com/billionaire. I spoke for the Billionaire Mastermind Forum. Big group of billionaire thinkers. And offered them something that would help even them go to the next level. And you can get my books or my box on that page that will help you grow your thinking so you can grow your income and you can grow your future. So williejolly.com/billionaire with a B.
I love what you said there with either expand or become expendable. I think that's very much on point. And I think a lot of times people, like you said, they just kind of get stuck in one place because it's comfortable, because it's safe. And they're unaware of how important it is that in order to grow, you have to grow. You have to become more and build yourself and develop yourself. So I love that point. I think that's really important. I think that's something that maybe a lot of people don't think about. They think that if they just kind of stick with the same thing and do it over and over again, they'll be fine. But a lot of times, like you said, things, especially in this day and age, things just grow rapidly. And if you're not growing along with it, you're going to get kicked out of the door. So I really love that point. Yeah.
Good.
So I want you to tell us about the book. So you are an author of multiple bestsellers. Of course, you see all the ones in the back here. And I want to know, why is it important for you to write? I know you started off, you said that the first book you did was a book deal, so someone came to you with that. But why was it important for you to continue to write?
You know, one of the reasons that I continue to write is because I continue to grow. You said it very earlier. I've grown. So this book, It Only Takes a Minute, was my first book. It's going to come out this year, revised, because in the 20 years that I have had it out, I've grown. And so the thinking that I had then is not the thinking I have now. I used to say, you must get a plan to live your dreams. But what I realize now is you got to have multiple plans. I didn't know that then. You have to have a financial plan. You have to have a family plan. You have to have a health plan. You have to have a life plan in terms of where you want your life to be. And so I realized I have to have more than one plan. And that I didn't know that before. And so those are things that I've grown with. And as I've grown, I want to share them. Some of my writing is done because I journal. And I recommend people journal because you learn something every day. And many of those lessons will just go like tweet, 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 will fly away because you didn't capture them. And those are life-changing lessons that you cannot share with only yourself, but with your family members, your friends, your loved ones, people in your network. Hey, I learned something today, and I think it would be great for me to share with you. So that's why I continue to write books. Like this marriage book, it's blowing up. Now, my wife and I have been married for over 33 years, and we haven't had an argument in over 30 years.
That's quite an accomplishment.
Now, I was on a TV show in Portland, Oregon, a short while ago, and a lady said, "You've never argued?" I said, "I didn't say that. I said we haven't had an argument in 30 years. Those first couple of years were like World War III. We were arguing every day. But we got some mentors, and those mentors gave us some principles and some tips on how to succeed in marriage. We used the tips. They worked for the last 30 years, and now we put them in a book because we want to help others who we might not be able to sit down with and might not be able to meet with. And we want to help them. So now the book is taken off, and we put a chapter in for people who are not yet married. You're not yet married, are you?
No. No.
So there's a chapter in there for you.
Okay, cool.
To be able to know how to choose the right one. A lot of folks will come along who might look like the right person, but you got to choose the right one. Because let me tell you something I tell my children, and I've told young people. The most important decision you will ever make next to your faith is who you marry. Because that person will be responsible for 90% of your misery, 90% of your joy. So you got to choose well. So in the book, we got a chapter, last chapter, on how to choose the right one to marry. As one of the couples who we interviewed who had been married over 60 years said, you're going to have a lot of people come your way, but you got to be able to choose which one are the real person and which one are the impersonators. Okay? So get that book. Everybody go to jollymarriage.com. Get a free chapter from the book. It's JOLLEY marriage.com. There's a free chapter on how to not disagree or not argue, which talks about how my wife and I got past that piece and what we learned from that. But then for those who want to get the book, you can get the book right there. It's exclusively there because you get a signed copy from there, and we didn't put it on Amazon so you can get a signed copy.
Wonderful. Okay, cool. And I think it's interesting for me as I'm working on, I want to write more. I already have one book now, and I want to write another one. And so it's interesting for me to see, and I've interviewed authors that have had multiple books and kind of seeing, what their inspiration is behind it. And oftentimes it's very similar. It's that idea that, there's a message that needs to be put out there and you have something to share. You have something that can help someone to grow. And I think that's kind of I think for me, I think of it as like an outlet, right? It's a way to kind of express the ideas and the things that are in your head that you feel that people will be able to relate to and understand and want to be a part of. And so I think it's really interesting to see an author be able to write so many books and for so many people to receive them and really enjoy them. I think for any authors that are out there that are kind of looking at you and are listening to this interview, I hope that they kind of gather a sense that, you know, writing and whether it's to help or whether it's, you know, nonfiction or whatever it is or fiction, that it's a way of being able to share what's in your head and be able to help and be able to, you know, mold in whatever way. What kind of advice would you give to, you know, an author that wants to be, you know, a bestseller, that wants to have multiple, you know, books and all of that?
The advice I would give is, one, to do what you just said, write. Start writing. People sometimes get stuck because they say, well, it's a big project. It's a big task. Well, yeah, it is. But how do you eat an elephant? One piece at a time. How do you eat a cake? Big cake. One piece at a time. Inch by inch, anything's a cinch. So just start writing every day a little bit. A little bit becomes a big bit. Mm-hmm. And so that's first of all. Second is, once you have gotten your thoughts and your ideas, start getting them together, make an outline of what you want to share in this book and fill in the outline over time. And then once you get it done, then I would recommend that you look at how you can either do one or two things. You can trade publish it or self-publish it. And if you trade publish it, then you get a big New York publisher, like some of my books are a big New York publisher or big publisher, wherever they're from. And then there's self-publisher, where you do it yourself. Either one can work. It depends on your goals, and that's a whole nother conversation. But if somebody wants to know more about a book and how to help, and we even do seminars on that, they can email me, go to my website and just send us a note and say, hey, I heard you on Gabrielle Jordan's show, and I want to be like her. I want to write a book too, like her. I want to be a superstar like her. All right, so and they can just email me, and I'll give them some tips.
Wonderful. And so before we go, actually, I have one more question. But and now this question is because I know, as I saw you often do some consulting and talk with big companies. Of course, the one that you often share about is the Ford company, the story that you've had there, where you help them to grow and you help them to get through a pretty difficult time in their business. So I really wanted to ask, what is the most common setback of the big companies, or of really any company that you've had the opportunity to work with? What's that big setback that often holds them back?
You know, the biggest challenge is that with companies and with people is that you get stuck in old thinking, in outdated thinking, in obsolete thinking, or you have negative thinking. And so Ford was the leading car company at one time in America. They were the biggest car maker in the world. And over time, though, they took their eye off of excellence. They took their eye off of staying positive and forward thinking and excited about creating new world-class vehicles. And little by little, their reputation diminished. One day they woke up, they'd gone from almost 80% of the market to down to 15% of the market. They brought in a new CEO named Alan Mulally, who said, we got to change the thinking and the culture of this company. He started out, and they hired me, and I started speaking to Ford employees, and I worked with them for 3 years, and in the fourth year, they were able to reject the government bailout and go on from losing $1 million a month to making $1 billion a month. And what I learned from that is that we often are like Ford. We wonder what's wrong with our business, with our company. Well, we've gotten stuck in old thinking. And I've constantly got to work on myself to continue to upgrade my thinking. What I read, what I listen to, what I dream. I want everybody to do 3 things that you will do this year. I want you to dream big dreams. How big can you dream? I mean, the bigger the dream, the bigger the reward. So dream big dreams and keep trying to outpace your dreams. I just say if that's the best you can dream, dream bigger. Number 2 is decide. Make the decision that you're going to only hang around positive people, because negative people will kill and steal your dreams. And then the third D is for do. You must take action. I want you to dream, decide, and do, and take some action every day toward your goal. 3 things every day toward your goal. Write a letter. Ask someone for help. Ask for advice. Do something. 3 things every day toward your goals. And then you will be amazed if you do that consistently every day. Dream big. Decide to stay away from negative people and negative things. Don't look at negative TV. Don't listen to negative music. Don't listen to negative stuff that discourages you. Look and go to them books and get my audios and get the things that will empower you and inspire you, and finally take action. If you do that, at the end of this year, you'll be able to say, wow, look at what I've accomplished. What have I achieved? So again, let me give you what we've talked about today. We talked about 1, that what changed my life was my inputs. Inputs determine outputs. So I'm going to go get williejolly.com/gift to get the free copy of the book that changed my thinking, Think and Grow Rich. 2, you got to get some resources that you will use to fill you up with the pure, the powerful, and the positive so you can change your future. So we'll go to williejolly.com/billionaire to get my bag of books or my box. Some of you are in relationships. Some of you want to have relationships. Some of you are married or want to have great marriages. Go get jollymarriage.com, get the free chapter. My goal with that book, our goal, my wife and I, is to save 1 million marriages and enhance 1 million more. And that's even for the people who are not yet married. Make sure they marry the right person. And so those are the things, Gabrielle, that I want to tell you. And then I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
You're 17 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You've been doing this work. Your jewelry, is that one of your jewelry line on your...
Yep, that's me.
All right. See, I know all about you with your jewelry. You didn't mention it. I mentioned it. People, where can they get your jewelry?
Well, my jewelry is on my website, jewelsofjordan.com. But I have all my information on my website, so people are already going to check them out when they're on the side of the podcast.
How old were you when you started doing it?
I was 9.
9 years old. I remember when you were 9 or 10 years old.
Yep.
Coming to my event. Your mom. How are your parents, by the way?
They're doing wonderful. Of course, the backbone of my company.
Don't you have a brother?
I do. Older brother in college.
Yeah, I thought you had a brother. And so I said I know all about her, y'all. I'm on Sirius XM. I'm a radio show host. So I always have to ask, what was your motivation to start this endeavor of empowering young people?
That's a good question because, like, for me, I started off with Right Jewelry. It was mostly about me and the business and, wanting to be part of a legacy that was in my family. 5 generation entrepreneurs on my mom's side. Myself being 6th generation. I was excited about being a legacy in the family and being a part of a legacy in my family. And I think it was once I wrote my book, The Making of a Young Entrepreneur. It was received very well. I self-published it, and it was received very well from both kids and adults. I was receiving emails from kids and adults saying that they're going to start businesses, that they're going to restart businesses that they gave up on, that they're going to do this, that, and the other. And it really it prompted me to want to do something more to continue to feed these people's lives, because apparently it was what I was saying helped them, was affecting them. And so after that, people would actually ask me about speaking and everything, and I was not really for that initially because I was very much of an introvert and very shy to teach myself how to not be that, because I realized that if I could go on stage, I would be able to reach people more personally and to be able to look into someone's eyes and really connect with them in order to help them and to push them to, see what their potential is. And so that's kind of where the initial want got started. It was seeing that there was an impact being made without me even really trying. And so I thought, what kind of impact could I make if I really put my effort into it, if I put my all into it? And then so, I was 14, started the Mentoring Institute with my mom. And, it's important for me to see growth in other people because I see there's just so much potential in people. And I find it important for me to be able to pull that potential out for people to see what they have and, not just let it hide away.
Leaders do 2 things. 1, leaders make a decision to better themselves, which you did. You said, you were an introvert who decided to learn to come out of that shell. And that's what leaders do. So a lot of people who might be watching or listening say, well, I'm an introvert. Well, look, she's an introvert. I'm an extrovert. It was easy for me. But my wife is an introvert. But she had to learn how to do it, how to come out to do interviews for the book. Second thing, leaders always want to help others to grow. They don't want to just have it for themselves. Once they learn it, they want to share with others. That's why everybody who's listening, who's watching, can understand that the seeds of leadership are in you. It's like a seed that is in any plant or fruit. There's a seed of greatness within you. But you must develop that seed. You must grow that seed. You have the capacity, but also the responsibility to do that. That's why you got to water it. You got to water it by the books and the audios and the people. So last thing I want to say is this. One of the things I'm so impressed with you, Miss Jordan, is, and I got to call you Miss Jordan now because you're so grown up and looking so, is that you and your mom sought me out years ago and said, we want you to be a mentor. And I've tried to always, when you call or reach out, I try and help any way I can, my schedule allows, because somebody mentored me. And see, folks, there are two ways to get to any goal: mentors and mistakes. Now, both will get you there. One just gets you there with less headaches, heartaches, and knots inside your head. I told you what changed my marriage was some mentors. What changed my business was a mentor. Les Brown was a mentor. Nito Cobain was a mentor. And even younger people who are great in certain things like social media have mentored me into learning how to be on Snapchat and IG. Y'all can follow me on IG at The Real Willie Jolley, all right? So, look, I've learned how to tweet. And all of these are things that I had somebody mentor me. Yeah. And so mentors are mistakes. I recommend you get a mentor. I recommend you learn from people like Gabrielle, and you make a commitment that you're going to be excellent in all that you do. And I know, folks, that it's challenging, it's difficult, but it's worth it. That's the thing, it's worth it. And you will be able to control and design and determine your destiny. You know, many people are waiting for destiny to come upon them. I'm waiting on my destiny. I don't want to miss my destiny. Well, the best way to do that is take action. Move on it. Act on it. Be proactive. Go after it. And if you do, you will be among the stars. Come on, somebody.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Willie Jolley, for joining me today on the show. I really appreciate all the nuggets that you've shared with my audience and with me. I'll need to probably watch this over once it's all edited and write down some of my notes, because I really appreciate you just being here and sharing all that you have. And I'll make sure to have all the links to all of your information down below, to your IG and to your Twitter, and of course your website, so people can check out your books as well as the free gifts. And again, just thank you so much. And everybody, make sure that you are checking out what he's doing.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm delighted. Tell your parents they've done great, and tell them that the best is yet to come. Okay? And I'll close with this, my favorite little point. Follow your dream, wherever it leads. Don't be distracted by less worthy needs. Shelter it, nourish it, help it to grow. Hold your dream deep, down deep where dreams grow. Follow your dream, pursue it with haste. Life is too precious, too fleeting to waste. Be faithful, be loyal, and all the day through, the dream that you follow will keep coming true. God bless you, and may heaven smile upon you. Oh, for those who have a faith-based interest, you can go to my faith-based site as well, jollygoodnews.org. Jollygoodnews.org. We have a message there for people who believe as I do that God is still in control, and I give him the glory. So go to jollygoodnews.org.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Love you.
All right.
Bye. Out. Bye.
Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the UV Effect podcast. I hope that you enjoyed this interview with Willie Jolley. And if you did, be sure to head over to GabrielleJordaninspires.com/035 to check out more information about Willie Jolley. All of his information is on that page. His links to his website, social media, and his books, all of that will be there, as well as some of the free things that he talked about in this episode. Those links will be down below or in that page. So be sure to head over there and check that out. And while you're there, be sure to leave a comment letting us know how you liked this episode. And if you're listening to this on iTunes, leave a comment there and rate so that people can know how you're enjoying the show and if they should be listening to it themselves. Also, finally, if you're, enjoying this family and enjoying the show and listening to it, I think you'll also enjoy heading over to Instagram and following us on IG at UV Effect Podcast. Nope, the UV Effect. I'm sorry. It's the UV Effect. And where you can check out some of the upcoming guests, quotes from this episode, as well as some fun behind-the-scene little clips and things that we post in the Insta story sometimes, and all that. So definitely be sure to check out there. I also love to respond if you have any comments or anything, questions. I tend to respond on that page, so be sure to check us out and follow us there. And again, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you will be here next week on Tuesday for another episode of the UV Effect Podcast. All right, see you then.